Hey,
Now are you
hello.
outside?
Yeah, I'm outside my house.
That's like on the balcony or something?
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. We don't get outside the house that much these days, so I'm jealous.
Is it because it's cold or something?
Between just lots of people like going by our house for exercise and the kids running wild and you
Okay.
know, and just trying to stay in as much as possible. So
Yeah.
hey Mark, hey Remy.
Hey,
Everyone.
I didn't see if Jinshin was gonna make it, but he asked to move. Our one-on-one is usually right before this, so I say we just go ahead and get started, and we can catch up if need be. So for personal discussion or social discussion today, I just went with something basic. What is your favorite hobby? And for me, I'm like a huge like TV show watcher. So it's like one of the things my wife and I do when the kids go to bed. So we really like kind of just like situational comedies. So like Schitt's Creek, Arrested Development for like a classic one, The Office, Parks and Rec, shows like that. We seem to enjoy. We also watch like we were watching Mark Maron stand up that's on Netflix last night, which is kind of funny. I don't know if it might not be funny to everybody, but we seem to like it. He's very sarcastic and dry humor. So yeah, that's what we enjoy. Remy, what about you?
Yeah, TV shows. I also like comedy TV shows. I think I watched That 70s Show. I don't know how many times, like 5 times, or like the 8 seasons. And we actually watched the whole 8 seasons as well with my girlfriend last year, I think. And yeah, I always love that TV show. And other hobbies, I would say music, playing music. So we are going back to playing music with my girlfriend now that we have the drum kit in the living room. So that's fun. And as well as I used to practice skateboard quite a lot, I would say, but a few years ago I tried to go back to it, but it's it's a sport where it's hard to progress. So but it's good to just let go and try. You have to try a lot before you actually succeed a little. So yeah, for me, music, sports, TV shows. Yeah, I would say that's most of it. What about you, Mark?
yeah, TV shows are good. We watch Friends. Friends is one of our favorites for a sitcom, but we're watching Lost at the minute. So it's kind of hard to believe I think it's like 20 years old now. Because I remember watching that at university. And other hobbies, I cook a lot. So we do a lot of cooking, and it's mostly at the minute Indian food. I've been learning a lot about Indian food, like the different blends of spices, and Thai food as well. I really like Thai food. For some reason, I'm really into really strong flavors, and I find that Indian and Thai food are pretty much the strongest ones. So I really enjoy those. And there's also a lot of vegetarian options in Indian food, lots of vegetarian recipes. So I spent a lot of my time just tweaking the spice blends to see which one's the best, which is something I enjoy doing, try and find the best combination of spices. Sports, I used to really enjoy skiing, but I just haven't really had time to do it recently. and the snow up in Scotland hasn't been that great. But yeah, I used to go to France a lot to do skiing, and sometimes Bulgaria, but not so much recently. What about you, Albert?
I think for me, so I was doing climbing a lot recently, and that was like 2 years ago, like starting from 2 years ago, and then I think this year I'm cutting down on climbing because I feel that it's been quite taxing on the body. Like it does, like the nature of the sport is very like it's very prone to injury. So like I had muscle like sort of muscle injury last year, so I'm planning to stop or cut down at least the frequency of climbing. So I'm trying to go back to what I used to do before that, which is doing a lot of running and swimming and cycling. So like yeah, for the past 1 week and plus since I came back, I've been trying to do that regularly, like once a day. So hopefully I can get back to the levels I used to do. So yeah, like 5 years ago I used to do a lot of triathlons. So I was like clocking a few hours of training a week. I don't know if I ever get back to that state, but at least get the frequency and the variety of exercises. Because I think one good thing about that is it doesn't take too much load on certain like muscular groups. So there's a lot of changes between different muscle groups. So like we can still keep the frequency while like exercising different types of muscle groups, and they get rest in between. So like for example, like if I run today, then I cycle tomorrow, or I swim the next day, then the different muscle groups get rested, but I'm still keeping up the exercise momentum. So trying to get back to that kind of routine. Maybe not in terms of like volume, like number of hours I spend a day. Because I think I was like back then I was doing like 1-2 hours a day. It was too much.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. How a triathlon is pretty much like a built-in muscle group rotation workout.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Huh. I used to work out a lot more than I do now, and it would be a lot of like rotation of muscle groups, like Monday do like upper body, Tuesday do lower body, Wednesday like maybe isolate on shoulders, and it was just that's an interesting way to just kind of keep health, like be able to train in a very healthy way versus like overload one part of your body. So yeah, cool, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. Mark, it's cool to know that you like cooking too. I love Indian food. That's the thing that like my 3-year-old son, he's really into right now. So I'll probably chat with you about
I've
you like.
I've got a lot of recipes if you want to know any.
Yeah, we'll chat. We'll chat in one-on-one about it. Cool. Okay, so over to announcements. Remy has an announcement here that he set up a chart to track the number of review app deployments per day and unique review app deployments per day. Thank you for doing that, Remy. I know we chatted about that in our one-on-one, and it was like 20 minutes later is what it felt like it was there. So that's super helpful. Thank you very much. And then for me, this is more of like a GitLab announcement. So Contribute 2020 has officially been canceled. If you haven't seen, if you need help or have any questions on canceling your flights, entering your voucher details or refund details in the credit form, see the issue. You can also ask me. Be more than happy to help. For those of you that did have flights, that's pretty important to make sure that GitLab can recoup any costs related to flights. Any other announcements that anyone has? Okay. First item I had was just checking in on really apologizing first. So I'm sorry that last week's meeting I didn't catch the daylight savings time. Really impacted pretty much everybody. So when I came back from vacation, there wasn't daylight savings time there. So I just did like a few hours of time adjustment, and it wasn't top of mind. So my apologies that the current time meeting may not work the best. I was going to see if there's another time that worked. It looks like Albert proposed an hour later. And I think that works for me. Does that work for Mark, Remy? Does that work for you as well?
Yeah, this always happens at this time of year. There's just like a shift, and then everyone's confused for like 2 weeks, and then it shifts back, and everyone's confused again. And,
go ahead.
But yeah, the calendars usually update themselves. But if you're used to stopping at a certain time in your day, it's usually different. But I agree with Remy. It's in the middle of my day, so whatever works for everyone else.
Okay, I'll check with
yeah,
Shin. Go ahead, Albert. Sorry.
I think I can do it like after so 1 hour later from now onwards. I think it's best. But if it is gonna be challenging for you, Carl, then maybe we can consider a different timing. I think it's just accept not this current timing. It's okay. It's just that it might be challenging in some weeks for me.
Yeah.
So I'll prefer like later in the day.
Yeah, I wasn't clear in that comment. I may, I guess what I mean is like my daughter will probably be here then. So my wife will take my son to school. I'll keep my daughter. So I may be a little bit more distracted than I am right now. But I think an hour from now works great. I'll check with Shin in our one-on-one later in the week and confirm with him. But yeah, thanks for kind of like having the discussion on this async. So I'll look to get it rescheduled next week after I chat with Shin on Thursday.
Yeah.
Remy, over to you on interruptible jobs.
Yeah. So yeah, I implemented the interruptible jobs as suggested by Josh initially, I think. And I've also implemented the workaround proposed by Genshin to have basically all the jobs are interruptible by default, except one job, which I called Don't Interrupt Me at the moment. And this job runs automatically in master so that pipelines in master won't be interrupted as today, because since master is getting a lot of updates, we don't want pipelines to be constantly canceled and never have finished pipelines there. And this job is manual in merge request, so that if you need to push like a change and you definitely want a current pipeline that is running to finish, even after you push the new change, then you can just start the job to not make the current pipeline cancelled. And yeah, so that was quite simple to implement. So I was surprised in a good way. And I've also added a validation part to the issue with 3 things that should like 3 charts that should go down, basically, like the cost charts, 2 cost charts, and 1 chart about cancel pipelines, which should go up actually, like cancel pipelines in merge request. And yeah, that's it. I don't know if there's anything more to say. No.
I think it looks really exciting.
Sure.
Thanks for adding the validation portion to the issue so that we can keep it open. I like that we've been doing that more and more. I think the last few milestones where we'll make a change, we'll monitor to make sure it has the the intended impact on whatever metric that kind of like started it. So with that quantitative feedback loop, that's good. Was this in like the Engineering Week in Review, or have we sought feedback on this at all?
No. So this isn't merged yet. This still needs a review by Genshin.
Okay.
So yeah, and I will definitely announce it once it's merged. I don't want to, for this one, I don't want to ask for feedback before, because I think we know that we want to do it, and I know that I already know that, I mean, I think some people will be don't like it because they like to have each commit tested, but I don't feel it's a good rationale, because I mean, in the end, what we care about is if the merge request is passing. So and they can still just play the job if they really want to have pipeline for commits.
I would agree. I think from a feedback
a point
perspective,
on that.
we'll get dissenting opinions. Go ahead, Robert.
Like if someone wants every commit or every push to be tested, it's I don't think the CI pipeline gives a very good feedback for that, because like if our pipeline takes 45 minutes at least to complete, if someone were to say that they want to get every commit tested, it's not very realistic, I feel, because the feedback doesn't come as immediate to per commit. So, it's still like we're still validating on the MR as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think some people want to push like commits and make sure that pipelines pass for like they want to build on passing changes. Basically, I think that's how they think. But yeah, I mean, if you push many commits in 1 hour time span, let's say, then it doesn't make sense to run many pipelines. So I think it's I mean, it's a good default, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe, well, yeah. The only thing I was thinking is in the issue, if we could just say like, maybe specify just like some background information, like this, how much is currently spent on the GitLab pipeline, and we're like, this is part of the reduction of that number, so that any individual who goes into the issue doesn't have to click on the chart, and then it makes it very clear. But I think it makes it clearer, kind of like the cost savings measure on that. So
yeah, it's already the first rationale in the issue, but I will I will add charts and make sure it's understandable. Yeah.
I am very excited to see how this impacts costs, because I think, like you said, it's hard. It was hard for me to quantify how many pipelines are run for an MR that are almost simultaneous executions, to see what could be cut down from this. But I'm excited to see what that number looks like. So yeah, good work. Awesome work on this.
Cool. Thanks.
I have comments about the validation charts. So
okay,
are those charts also tracking the GitLab mirror as well as package GitLab QA? The pipelines, the pipelines on those projects, because as we have this in place and we cancel more in progress pipelines, then those the number of pipelines that's run in those projects will also go down. So I think it'd be good to see how the other two downstream projects are affected.
Yeah, and maybe, so I just So I just look quickly at the charts that we have in the infra CI usage dashboard, but maybe there's other charts that are more precise, I would say, and maybe you can even like create dedicated charts because, like, I think, yeah,
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
cost,
I-
yeah. But I mean,
So I
yeah.
think the GitLab.com shared runner estimated cost by project, internal only. If you click the GitLab,
GitLab Mirror is there. Omnibus GitLab.
I was gonna say, yeah, QA, Omnibus, GitLab Mirror, everything's there. And if you click the top,
Yep.
like the GitLab button, it hides it, and then you can see
Yeah.
the proportion of everything else very
Right.
clearly. So we could still monitor it.
Yeah, cool.
It's a little bit more challenging, but we should be able to at least see. an
Yeah,
impact.
good point. Good point. Cool.
Mhm, mhm.
That's a good question, though.
Yeah, very good question.
Any other questions on that?
No.
Albert, over to you.
So the next
Oh,
thing
sorry.
is review apps. Yeah.
Remy, did you have
investigating how
anything?
we can.
Sorry, Albert. I think we've got Remy off right there.
No, I was just going to say that I will add these details to the issue, like we expect the charts to go down for GitLab, Omnibus, GitLab Mirror, and this kind of project, like the downstream projects. That's
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that, Albert.
Yeah, the next item is on review apps. So I was discussing with Carl earlier today. I think the next thing we want to do is start looking at upgrading to Helm 3. I did some early investigation, so we could actually run Helm 3 and Helm 2 in parallel, like have Helm 2 and Helm 3 deploy into the same cluster and namespace. So I'm curious what discussions have been done before. There were any previous investigations. I think some of the existing issues and discussion from distribution group is there. This is from Carl earlier today. So I'm just trying to get if there's any other discussions that I may have not seen or I'm not aware of, feel free to bring it up, then I'll take a look as well.
Yeah. One thing that I have in mind is that we'll also need to update the CI image, and I think we are using we are sharing the image, like the charts project and our review apps jobs are using the same image. So that's something to keep in mind as well, I think.
Yeah. Charts you're referring to the chart project?
Yeah, the charts GitLab project.
Yep. Okay. I'll take note of it.
And that was actually going to be the thing that I asked when you were talking about doing Helm 2 and Helm 3 at the same time. I think whether it's in our image and I think there's some steps where we check to see if like Tiller's installed and install it. Like there's some Helm 2 specific steps in our setup. So we'd have to handle that logic in our review app script, depending on where it's running. So that's the other thing to kind of keep in mind. Yeah, so Remy, I had thought that there was an issue to upgrade review apps to Helm 3, but I couldn't find it when I was talking with Albert earlier. Do you know if there was one created, the other thing I thought of is I maybe was just thinking of the distribution teams issues.
Yeah, no, I don't think we have an issue for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's good to know then.
And I was thinking also related, not directly related, but on the topic of review apps, I think we should also update the charts version to the latest, because I think there were some improvements to the charts, so that could help as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this evolves. I've only used Helm 3 fresh, so I don't have a lot of experience upgrading like a cluster that was on Helm 2 to Helm 3.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately don't have like firsthand gotchas. I can do some, you know, like I think there's some good base information on Helm's website that's like kind of like a path for upgrading and things like that, which I'm sure you've already tracked down.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see how this comes together. Anything else on this one for me or Mark?
No, I'm just wondering if there's, so it's not clear, I haven't looked at all the issues yet, but is there, I think the current charts should work with the with a client that's using Helm 3, right?
I think that's in one of the comments that Jason made, the chart itself
Yeah.
is compatible.
Yeah. Okay, so on this side, cool. So that means we don't, yeah, we can investigate updating just, yeah, for our review apps deployments. So maybe we can, since we are sharing the same image, maybe we should like split the images, one for M2, the current one, and create a new one with M3 so that we can test on our side without affecting other projects that may rely on the image.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And the last item that I had, I thought I got some good feedback from my candidate that I was interviewing, who said there's not much unfiltered content for the engineering productivity team. And I was like, oh, that's great feedback. And they specifically called out, they were like, well, there's the video for insights, and then there's a lot of there's some quality department, but not much engineering productivity team. And I thought that was good feedback and an opportunity to get better here. So I thought of just starting with uploading this meeting, the recording of this meeting to GitLab Unfiltered. But I was curious if anyone else had an idea on videos that we could create or just kind of record as things happen that would provide that would help provide just kind of like insight into how we work within our team.
Definitely. Yeah, I think like review apps are a good topic in general, because I think that could also help internally for people to understand how review apps are set up, and so that, because it's often that people ask why the review app is failing, or they don't get the whole picture. So I think that could help.
Another suggestion would be like how I think the GitLab pipelines itself, the configuration that we're using, if maybe, because I have got questions from other people about how to use the CI config. So
cool.
That's probably something useful for the public as well.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also danger would be a good topic, because same thing, like people don't like, there's a few parts in danger, like there's the roulette, like people sometimes they confuse the roulette and danger, like but oh yeah, there's a few parts, like there's the roulette, there's also the part where there's another thing in danger currently where on specific changes, specific teams are pinged, but it's not a roulette. It's just like another kind of things. And then there's the code owners file, which is also like giving suggestions for approvals, and all of that is creating sometimes a bit of a mess. So maybe there's something to explain better here, and I think in the end it's mostly the product that needs to be improved. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's some videos to be done probably.
Okay. Anything else? My plan is to kind of pull these into one large issue and see what we can collaborate on async and work towards creating.
I think we had an issue about potential blog posts for the quality team, well, the quality department, but before it was so big. So I think that's hanging around somewhere, which has some other ideas, which we could instead do as a video.
Yeah, good call.
I'll try and find.
I think we could also probably speak about metrics, like how we use them, how we detect problems, and use the metrics to validate changes that we do, something like that.
Yeah.
Basically all the topics that we have in the handbook page for the team.
Yep, and that's kind of what I was thinking. It would be nice to really refresh our handbook content and kind of do it with some videos. One of the software engineers in test in a coffee chat also mentioned that is they were like, well, it looks like the engineering productivity team does a lot of work, but I don't really have a good understanding of like what it, like how work is like determined, or really what it is. So you know, I was really when the candidate mentioned it, I thought, oh, this could even have benefits externally, where we don't even have an opportunity to really clarify. Whereas an internal candidate, they can always ask, and we can always jump in and then document that in the handbook afterwards. But cool. Okay, so I'll like I said, I'll pull this into. I don't want to dogpile on the blog post issue, but maybe extract some ideas like you suggested, Mark, from there, and create an issue for this. And then yeah, we can just see how it evolves. I'll start uploading this meeting, the recording of our team meetings, up to GitLab Unfiltered as well, and see if I can create like a playlist. I haven't done a lot of stuff on GitLab or on YouTube, but I'm sure it's not too hard just to like combine all of our team meetings into one group. So awesome. Great discussion on that. I'll make sure I note the action item on this. Anything else that anyone wants to bring up? Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you for the time and the great discussion. I appreciate it. And also thanks for the great agenda items that we added. I think this meeting went a lot more efficiently than the past few ones. So I hope everyone has a good rest of your day and stay safe in these really stressful and anxious times. So get you all async, okay?
Right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Bye.